What up, y'all? Technical difficulties. Let's see now. Okay. Yo, what up? Yeah, I had some technical difficulties there because I just wanted to jump on real quick. What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, and I'm feeling good. And I was sitting here, obviously, it's Tuesday. I didn't do How Billy Sees It yesterday. I wasn't in the mood, and I kind of felt like, I could take a day off. So I decided to do that. Um, did you miss me? Did you miss me? Anyway, today I was just sitting here and working, and Sheba was working, and she went upstairs for a sec and took a hit of some weed. And I've been thinking about a lot of different things, and a lot of stuff that we've been talking about, and it just made me want to. I got motivated to get back on here real quick and kind of do an impromptu one. Part of the reason I didn't do yesterday's shows because I felt um, like I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything interesting to talk about, I thought. So anyway, I want to talk about gratitude in this one. I want to talk about gratitude in this one. Gratitude is an interesting and important thing. I think it's a valuable part of this game, of this experience. I want to notice that I only have words available to me to attempt to try to articulate something that's very weird, in this life. And I'm going to attempt to do that. But know that whatever we're talking about is actually in reference to something much grander and more complex and much more interesting and beautiful. And words will fail, you know? Um, you're such a goals dude. Sheba says, "What up, baby?" She's upstairs. So, okay, gratitude is the best word that I have available to me in the English language to articulate, I think, okay, a headspace that orients you towards better opportunities, that orients you towards your best conception of the good, and orients you towards a capacity to see what is available to you: tools, paths, and avenues, privileges, things that are accessible in the present. I used to struggle with gratitude because, as I said, in my journey, in my understanding of religion and sort of the new religions, and it landed in this place of woo-woo. There was always a sense that you had to have gratitude, and it felt like a religious kind of holdover, because in religion there's this constant, at least in the Christian faith that I was raised in, there's this constant commitment to showing God gratitude, to praising God, right? To me, that's just an exalting, high level amount of gratitude. And I remember a lot of Christian people in the church and people I knew in the block, in the neighborhood, even when things were difficult, there was a commitment to say, great, highly favored, things are fine, things are great. Less than that. It wasn't things are great. It was much more like, oh, you know, I'm blessed and highly favored. It was, you had to say the words of a positive experience. That's interesting. I want to come back to that maybe. But later on in life, as I've looked into the Eastern faiths and I've gotten to understand some other approaches to this experience of life, there's been this persistent thing about gratitude. And I think it's funny because I think, I'm the recipient of this, of so much other previous information. You go on YouTube and you talk to other people, and we have the internet that allows us to have access to so many interesting ideas. Um, it's almost as if we have the benefit of this word gratitude, right? We have the benefit of someone did the work to sit and consider it and arrive at this word gratitude. But we benefit from that. If we hadn't heard it before, if I'm not here telling you today about gratitude, you can discover it yourself through a process of self-discovery and this work thing. I think that gratitude is the best word that I have available to me in the English language to articulate a headspace that orients you to seeing what is available to you in the present. I like that sentence. I wrote that down and I said it twice. I might say it again. I like that sentence because it encapsulates a lot, and I think it's really accurate, um, without attempting to kind of chew off too much, I think. I've had several injuries because I played football in college and high school. And I played football, after, in flag football and stuff. And actually, when I played football in college, I had injuries. I had like a really chronic knee stuff, and I had a concussion that knocked me out. Where an ambulance actually came and got me on the field, and it was a whole deal. Felt pretty embarrassing at the time. Um, but I want to say I think the worst pain I ever felt was a surgery that I needed on my knee that I got after flag football. Playing flag football, this chronic knee injury that I had from college, the holdover, but it was never an injury, it was called chondromalacia of the patella. That's what our trainer called it. My patella tendon was jacked up and all this stuff. So anyway, one day I'm playing flag football as an adult. I'm probably 25 now. And my knee just gives out, right? And my quadricep is attached to the knee from the patella tendon. The knee is torn. The quad is kind of bunched up into my groin area, and there's no meat down on the leg, and it's just a terrible thing. And this is how you kick your leg out. So the leg was it was a long story, but I had to, because of insurance and other bullshit, this happened in DC. I had to go to Brooklyn, and I got surgery on my knee, and it was a crazy surgery. I don't remember the surgery. I was out for it, but the experience of having to get back from that was insane. It was so painful. I know for a fact that the doctors in there, when they were just in there grabbing stuff and pulling stuff and just wrestling, and you know what I'm saying? It had to be, because it hurt. My knee was jacked up, man, and I had all kinds of medicine and I don't know, all the big oxytocin, what is it called? All the big painkillers and all this. And for the first 8 days, I was really bedridden, and I was very grateful that my mom was there and she helped me out through this. I was bedridden, and this leg was just useless and in deep pain. It was healing from a major surgery, okay? And I also had, for the first time, for the first time I had constipation, yo. It's not something I deal with typically, yo. So, in fact, I used to laugh at constipation. I used to think, out of the two of them, between constipation and diarrhea is clearly the difficult one. That's the one that was the one I had experience with. Constipation was crazy. Anyone who's dealt with that, that's another beast. And it sucked. And I'm telling you all this stuff, and I'm trying to get to the detail because it was 8 days of some of the worst pain I ever felt. There were lots of periods during there where I'm sitting on a bed and I had to just breathe. And my goal was to try to breathe normally. My goal was to try to think of something else. This throbbing, thumping, doof, doof, nonstop, doof, pain in the knee. And I would spend hours just with the TV on, watching what, like Ricky Lake or something, whatever the hell was on back then. And trying not to think about this thing. And during the whole time, I kept coming up with things. So I remember on several days, like I say, like I had to come up with new ways to think about what was happening. I started to think about how in the past, like they would just chop motherfuckers' legs clean off in the middle of, all these stupid wars and these battles and this violence that we've meted out against each other throughout history. Before, I was actually doped up on all kinds of so-called painkillers. It didn't seem to me that that it was working, but apparently it was. It was giving me the constipation. It was part of the whole fucking experience, and yet I was fucked up, laying down in this bed for 8 days. Okay, and it helped me to think that in previous periods of history, cats had to just deal. It helped me to think about other people who had gone through something like this, or arguably much worse than something like this. And to tell myself that they did it, I can do it. I'm a human. They're a human. I'll come up with stories. It sucked. By day 8, the pain started to go down a bit, but I could get up and kind of use the crutches, and I had to be careful. But I could begin to do that. My leg was emaciated, yo. My leg, anybody who knew me from college, it's kind of a beast. And the legs were, huge, man. I liked squatting, So one leg is still big, the other leg is all tiny, messed up. I got this huge gash. I still have a pretty solid scar from it, from the surgery. And I remember slowly, it took months to kind of learn how to walk again. Going through therapy and learning how to slowly put weight on the thing. And then also dealing with the fear. Once I had eventually I would do it in the doctor's office a few times, and then I would take small things in the home. But eventually I had to go back out in the real world. And I was a personal trainer at the time, by the way. So, I needed to go back and deal with clients and be in a space where people move around. And I'm pointing to something here that I had so much gratitude at that time for being well. The concept of being well. We underestimate that concept. We fail to notice what wellness feels like sometimes until there's a lack, until there's an absence of it. All that pain and all that experience, that painful difficulty put me in an orientation for gratitude for something that just a couple of weeks prior was just a given, the capacity to walk. It was crazy. Like I said, I remember getting on the train and, I've got crutches and everything, but people are still moving fast and don't care. And I was fucking traumatized mentally. I was really concerned about my leg. Obviously, no one else cares about my leg. I care about my leg. And so how do you deal with all that? Well, you deal and you try to avoid, and you watch and you put your arm out and stuff like this. But I just want to point to the fact that gratitude, our experiences produce conditions of gratitude sometimes. And oftentimes it's bad things that we would call bad, that can spur us into gratitude. Obviously, we also have gratitude sometimes when we have something positive, something that we want, when we've achieved something, when we've accomplished something. You get the job you were looking for, or someone gives you a nice gift, um, particularly one that you genuinely care about, or someone gives you a hand and helps you out with something. You get some support when you needed it. You have genuine gratitude from a positive place. The neat thing is funny because it reminds me of this dude that I follow on YouTube, who's a motivational speaker, and I actually benefited a lot from him. I don't know, a lot of y'all probably know E.T. the hip hop preacher. E.T. He goes hard, man. He's this dude. I believe he's from Philly, and he I think he's the number one motivational speaker. I see him all over the place. He's been on like some NFL games. You hear him in the pregame. He's got this great booming voice, and he can get at it. And his particular way of talking about achievement, and getting through difficulty really resonated with me at a time when things were difficult for me. Things were difficult for me in lots of different ways, including financially, including this knee, including trying to figure out my path. You know, he was homeless at one point in his life and overcame that, and now he's this high-paid motivational speaker. Travels the world doing this, you know. Check him out. I'll put a link to him in the thing for those who don't know him. But one of the things that got him really famous was he talked about, he has this thing about drowning. He has this thing about something where a guru or someone comes to a guru wanting something, and the guru sends him out to the water in the ocean, or they meet in the ocean, and while they're talking, he just grabs his head and dunks his head in the water and attempts to drown the kid. The guru attempts to drown the kid, and it's a pretty rough story, but he pulls him back up. Now the kid is panting and he's breathing. He's like, "What the fuck? What do you do that for?" And he's completely exasperated and confused, and feels like he was almost murdered, almost disappeared. The guy goes, "This right here, this energy right here, that gasping for the air, that is the mode that you should be in if you want to achieve something. Like this is what it is right here." He says it a little better. Let me think real quick. He says, yeah, when you want something as bad as you want to breathe, or as bad as you wanted to breathe just a moment ago, then you'll achieve it. You know, you'll achieve it. You gotta watch the video itself. I think it's got music and a whole deal. But I think right there they're pointing to gratitude. It's a bit violent of an approach and a way to teach it, but the way it works is it was an immediate feeling at that time. I mean, it becomes more powerful to have just to be there, literally, very presently aware of all that suffering for how many seconds underneath the water, and to be able to reference that and to lodge that feeling and that idea and that concept, and potentially draw from it again in the future, to have that locked in. But I think there's something about lack and suffering in the moment that can draw for us. Obviously, and there's different ways of saying this. They say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. That's another sort of approach to this. But I like, it's the challenges, the travails, the difficulties, the pains, the suffering, orients us sometimes into a position of awareness and gratitude. for even, like I said, something like walking, something like feeling pretty certain. I'm a athlete, former athlete. I don't feel too often that I'm going to be tipped over or someone will nudge me and I'm going to be in danger of that. I have a sense of my balance and all that stuff. Just the very thing we call life, we take it for granted, and so I think it's a powerful thing to notice that, and I think it becomes really powerful when you can access that same driving power without being forced to somehow. So I'm trying to put on the table that gratitude, something I call gratitude, love, a love and appreciation is a very powerful force. And that if you can access it on your own without the, I don't know, external conditions of the pressures that produce it, the discomfort that it has to, you know what I mean? The precursor of a discomfort that brings it, then you have access to this thing and you can use it at any time, at all times. So I think there's something about like our perceptions of stuff, our perceptions of our experience can put us in a position of gratitude or not. So like I talk about myself now, man. I'm a rapper, yo, and on top of the art that I love to do, I'm a musical artist, and I'm excited about that. But you know, gratitude was a big part of what allowed me to take the risk to attempt the thing that now has me so excited. You know, um, I'm trying to point to like a need to. I could be someone who believes that in order to make my music, I have all of these things that need to be perfect. I need this and I need that. These stories abound. You hear them all the time, and I've experienced it with other people in different spaces, musical and in different art stuff, and in all kinds of endeavors where you say, I want to do this thing, but I don't have the tools. I don't have the time. I don't have the, if it's I don't have a studio. I don't have the best camera. I don't have access to this or that. And all of that can be true. And yet, if your goal is to actually still accomplish something, there is a powerful driver in this thing called gratitude. I want to say that think about it, yo. Think about it again. I'm going to say the sentence again. Gratitude is the best word I have available to me in English to articulate the headspace that orients you to see better opportunities. Gratitude means that you like, what are you grateful for? It means taking stock of what is available. That's what it means inherently. Take stock of what is and appreciate it. So that's what you're doing. And that's a muscle. That's a choice. Like the world is full of a tremendous amount of hate and violence and oppression and problems and corruption and bullshit. And I think we should be aware of those things. It's very important to be aware of those things. Um, Also, in our personal lives, those are all kind of like broader social issues. But in our personal lives, we each have ailments, man. Everything from our natural condition, which may include things like impingements and problems with our joints. It may include allergies. It may include like you know a range of allergies and real pains and chronic stuff. And each of us will have to navigate that, and I hope that we can do that with like um, grace for ourselves, and with, we can find the dignity, and we can like kind of operate, for some of those things like allergies. What, like seasonal allergies? I'll get through it. Actually, my boy in high school, man, this dude Alan, his allergies were so real. It was different. It was a different ball game. I realized that that's the range of how complex and different everything is. Like his experience with allergies meant that he spent the entire allergy season snorting and spitting and having issues, and his face was just all melting and dripping all the fucking time. And I'm like, damn, yo. And the first time it was like, oh, what the. But eventually you're like, dang, okay, that's, respect, help him out. He's got 2 inhalers and you out here just sniffing it up, no problems, experiencing this very differently. Do you have the appreciation, the awareness to notice that, to notice that difference? Where was I going with that? um, I think that there's a different way of looking at things sometimes. Um, and yes, with our personal ailments, like being very intensely aware of them and taking stock of them is important. Our brain does it and needs to do it. It's a way of keeping us safe and keeping us alive. But what happens is you can lose out the muscle of the muscle of awareness. Each of these, I'm using words to describe the muscle of, I don't know that we're talking about that in particular, especially, this is psychology, this is neurology, this is a lot of, disciplines mixing. This is life. This is what it means to be human. This is not like I'm attempting words, but I am pointing to how it works. It's like a good time to use as few words as possible there, right? I'm attempting how it works. So being in a place of having a lot of appreciation for your frailties and for your difficulties and for your pains is something that you can do. It's something that we all do, but it is possible to have that have a greater sensitivity for that awareness, and to not have a fully developed sense in the other way, And so gratitude is the best word I have available to me in the English language to articulate a different headspace that orients you to better see what is available and what are opportunities in all of it. And I think that's true at all levels. I think that's true with our experiences. I think it's true with our partners. A capacity to intentionally notice and be grateful for the things that your partner brings to the table, which they bring something to the table, or you're a dummy for being with them, right? When I say bring to the table, I mean they're valuable. They make you laugh. They make you think. They are supportive. They are interesting problem solvers. They bring beauty. They help you and provide pleasure. They provide income. If you're in a more serious relationship. To orient yourself that way and to have gratitude means that you're finding in each other, you're finding the strengths. You know what I mean? And you can have a heightened awareness. You can orient yourself to to notice those strengths and to appreciate those strengths. It's almost like those things are like they're there no matter what. It's about the other person, the receiver, the other person, the partner. That's why you got to find a good partner who is what we call compatible. I think there's something called compatibility, which wants to say that there's like this intuition that I have, and I want my intuitions to be compatible with the other person. I think that that's something, but I think there's also a merging and a creation, a co-creation that is at play, and that gratitude can orient both people to notice and appreciate, and then to give, so that like if things are rough, you notice and appreciate, you can remember, and if things are good, which they should be good, frankly, they should be good more often than not. Um, you notice you can build off of each other. You can keep reinforcing it. You reward and show appreciation for more often, and experience. Forget about them. For you experience it more. Just like some people experience seasonal allergies with real ferocity, and others of us don't almost at all, except for fucking recently. Um, I think states of gratitude exist this way. You can you can be in the same room and be so interested in all the flaws of the room. So, and it's just an orientation of the brain that you can notice all of these things. Maybe because you have some kind of technical expertise, or maybe you're just like inquisitive, or you just want, that's your thing. You desire some fault, and then someone else is just really in awe of the room, the same room. That's a real thing. It's not woo woo, you know. So that was key for me to understand too, and that's part of it too. This is why I want to it just hit me, and I said I wanted to get on here and talk about it. But it's like the me putting it in the woo woo category makes me just a little bit standoffish to it, even as I think I actively live my life by this kind of thing, and I have for a while now. This kind of, but I think with even greater, I've been able to hone it more recently, and this kind of putting it in a proper box that is an acceptance of like, this is what is. It's not something weird. It's not something laughable. It's not something indescribable and unattainable and goofy, and or it's not just the purview of like, it's not a word that is being used for charlatanry, or to get people to buy some kind of nonsense. It's like, this is what is. It's the best word, gratitude, the best word I have available to me in the English language to articulate the headspace that orients you to seeing what is available, to seeing what is good, to seeing options and seeing opportunities and tools and benefits and finding peace. So, I think that I wrote some stuff down here. Pain is part of the process. When I mentioned my stuff with the knee, I was trying to articulate the point about how that very difficult process put me back in a place of gratitude. And I think there's something about this experience, when we try to understand it, we really try to understand it. We believe that it's something that can be understood. many people attempted. I think it's something we can point towards. I've used this word on another video. I think we can point towards it. I think that words fail. I think that words are the underpinning things we use to understand, whether I'm speaking it or I'm in my head and I'm coming up with things. I'm gonna have to use words. I use concepts which have words, which have labels. Um, but there's something about choosing a pain point, rather than, like I said, rather than going through it on accident, choosing a pain point, choosing something that hurts for you. No one else can pick that thing. A challenge. It's like choosing a place that is generally off limits or new or feels dangerous to you. Notice that what feels dangerous to you doesn't feel dangerous for everyone. That some people operate free of those fears, whether it's an anxiety over spiders or an anxiety over money or anxiety over dating, anxiety over nudity and chastity and all these things. Insecurities, like the insecurities and the anxieties that we each hold are so myriad and so vast and so individual to each of us. Um, there's something about sometimes I feel like I see like younger dudes in particular, like on Instagram and on other social media. I think there's a suffering of purpose, of like what to do. Got all this information. I got this phone. I got all these girls at my. I'm thinking of men, right? All these girls that have, on Tinder or whatever. I can access women at a rate and a pace that no other like generation could. And I'm trying to be what, like the world tells me to be an influencer. I think there's something about choosing a difficulty, noticing it. The way we talk about pain is as if to avoid it always. The way we talk about some of these anxieties, you feel something, it's not for you. We don't have a proper, I think, social discourse about moving into a space of difficulty with intention in order to kind of pull out the same gratitude and the same motivating energy that I've described when I was talking about my knee, or the same motivating energy that ET, the hip hop preacher, is talking about when he talks about, you want it as bad as you're drowning. So I think that I think it starts with gratitude though, because gratitude brings you to a place of confidence and awareness. Um, and then there's something about faith. There's something about sort of stepping out unaware. It's a very powerful thing. It's very important. And it's a muscle that we don't value. I think we put ourselves, I think this systems about around us frame us in scarcity and real material scarcity for a lot of us. And then also our concepts are full of scarcity as well. There's a lot of fear at play, um, being used on us all the time. It doesn't frame us in the right mindset to appreciate what is available to us, to see and take opportunities. It's really a pretty interesting thing. I think time has a part to it too. It's just like, hmm. Yeah. I think there are certain. Well, let me see here. Shiva says, appreciating your own experience through realizing how others experience the world. Same stimuli. Yeah, absolutely. I think you posted that a minute ago. Um, yeah. So I guess let me wrap up. What am I at here? 45 minutes. I think that I'm glad I jumped on. This was impromptu. I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? I'm really feeling this. I have this idea and I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about gratitude. I want to take it out of the space of something that is this goofy woo woo esoteric thing, which is something that I used to kind of hold on to. And so I even as I sort of felt, I saw so many very smart people pointing to gratitude that I said it made sense to join them in that understanding. But I don't think I fully understand it, or I wasn't able to like internalize why it's so valuable until sort of fairly recently. And I think it's valuable because it orients us, is the best word I have to describe the headspace that orients you to see what is available to you in the present, opportunities available in the present. There's something about pain, difficulty, challenge, struggle that if you struggle with gratitude, there's something about pain that can put you back in a place of gratitude. And I described that at the beginning of the video. Pain, suffering, in all of its forms, and it comes in many forms. We will describe, if I asked you, each of us, we would have a different answer. So we have some common answers, right? There are biological truths about the human condition that we need to eat every day, and we need to have water, and there is a spectrum of your human flourishing, and there seems to be like a floor. And that's something I appreciate for people who often call themselves the left. There's an awareness about the floor, about protecting and elevating that floor so that we're aware of each other. We're aware of the base necessities of the human condition, and that we are, and we don't dispense with that truth. We're aware of that, and then we realize that our conditions are linked, and so we support each other. At least at that, we try to find language and set up systems to support each other. And we call it a social safety net, let's say, but you can call it whatever. Um, the condition of difficulty can orient us back to gratitude. And I think that for those of us who can sometimes feel lost or feel that like we struggle, it's like with gratitude, we struggle. We're in sort of an empty gray area space. There's a lack of purpose is the other word. It can feel like I've been there, and I see people talking about it straight away on social media, young men in particular. I think there's some brilliant capacity that we have in this life, in this experience, to, from our own accord, with our own purpose, get a sense of something that gives us an anxiety or a fear, and to step into that, and to choose that as a mode for growth and difficulty that then can orient you back to gratitude. Life goes and it keeps coming, and there's all kinds of shit, and there's all kinds of systems and people in place, um, who are doing things that will affect you one way or another, and they are outside of your control. But that I'm trying to point to here, something that is in our control, something that we can notice in our lives, whether it's a connection with a family member, or creating that thing, doing that thing we want to do, um, learning, Sheba started stand-up comedy, learning a skill, learning a thing that it orients us to produce. Like there's an energy that comes from that. Even in that process, the minute you identify something that you want to step into, your best bet in solving it will be your capacity for gratitude. The gratitude that will allow you to notice that, man, I don't have a lot of money in my account. Oh, but I do have just enough to invest in that thing. Whatever it is that we're talking about. To get the thing you need. Or I don't have a lot, but I have this. Or I want to say, like, I worked at big places with big companies, and even a company like CNN, they have things that they want that they don't have yet. There's always another thing, There's always another thing that you don't yet have. And if you are so oriented towards those things, and you feel like those are blockages that don't allow you to move forward at all, well, then you'll never move forward. And so gratitude orients us to look, pay around. Oh man, yeah, I can. And be creative. And to take stock of what is presently available. And from there, you have the creative potential, and you have opportunity. You have your next steps, and to be present again. I've talked about this in another video about how sometimes I've been lucky enough to, for a lot of my life too. My adult life has been a lot of like goal set and then goal achieve and goal set, goal achieve, very systematic, and lists, lots of little calendars, and when you arrive at something, it's never quite what you thought it was. It's never that. It can't be. You don't know enough. You don't know anything about this thing. That's why it feels separate from you. You don't know the details of the experience. And I just want to say, so the key is to orient yourself always towards what you have, not what you don't have. And that the experience will constantly change, but that you are ever present and ever creative and driven by this thing. And it's also, you've picked something that you care about. And you're grateful for the opportunity for life to be able to attempt it. To be aware that there are other people present, alive right now, who, for one reason or another, can't do that thing that you're thinking about. Or for them, the obstacles are even much greater. Whatever your obstacles are, you can be honest that there are others who, whatever we're talking about, they don't have it. The capacity for it, For me, when I messed up my knee, it was the ability to walk. It was something as simple as the ability to walk. It was devastatingly, present. It just hit me like a ton of bricks, how brilliant it is that I can walk. So then what am I doing with that? What am I doing with that? And that gives me light and gives me energy to act, use my legs, use my brain, use my creative potential, use my friends and resources and things that are available. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna wrap it up there, man. Gratitude, super powerful, and a real thing, not a made up thing, a real thing that produces real difference in life. All right? Cool. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm gonna leave you with my newest song, First Person, and I'm gonna tell you, come on Friday, she was doing her next Black Bunny hole. It's gonna be Angela Bassett, and she's gonna crush it. I'm so excited for that. But here's my song, First Person, y'all. Have a good one. Good night. See you on Monday.
It is your boyfriend on the beat.
This shit unfortunate. Tough talk, but ego porcelain. Daddy issues like children up in the orphanage. They peddle silly awful shit from corner offices. Get you a corporate gig, a dig, put your coffin in. It's all fake and life wasted. I'm partisan, but face it, the matrix about to start again. One girl missing, another one go missing. One girl missing another, but niggas don't know how to feel. Never learn to sit with our shit for real. Still, sharp as steel, but give me some place to heal. I will test a line and call a bluff. Always selling stuff, same system tell us to be tough. Gotta stop, profit when we think we not enough. A lot of us can't even see the truth in the mirror that God is us. One girl missing, another one go missing. One girl missing another. Cause all these symbols got us lost and absent, following actors. Shun the leaders and promote detractors. I wonder what happens. Your whole map is inaccurate. It's actually backwards. We all one thing, kin. Your faculty's fractured. I'm chillin', relaxing. You swinging with axes. Stop watching that bullshit. Practical magic. One girl missing, another one go missing. One girl missing another. Trans woman was murdered. They use words to split and divert us. But we family, we not a burden. And when we see our sisters hurting, stop and listen, that's the first thing. See worth in deeper than words can. Fancy that. Keisha had one chance, she's still working. You judge first, but not the shit you immersed in. We the earth seeing itself. First person.